What is up, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to another episode of Designated Twitter. And on today's show, what is the Dodgers' biggest concern right now? And let us know down below in the comment section. What do you think is the Dodgers' biggest concern? Let us know down below. And as always, if you haven't yet, for all things Dodger baseball all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So what is your biggest concern for the Dodgers right now? Well, I'll let you know what my biggest concern is, and it's the same concern I had before opening day, and that is starting pitching, the depth of starting pitching. And yes, if you look at the Dodgers bullpen, they haven't been phenomenal. They haven't been as good as the bullpen we saw last year, but it is easier to fix a bullpen. You have reinforcements on the way. You are going to get Daniel Hudson back at some point. We'll see what Alex Reyes has. We'll see if they can get anything from JP Fireisen later in the year. We'll see if Walker Buehler returns from Tommy John surgery and can be a multi-inning reliever out of the bullpen. I have full confidence in Andrew Friedman and company to go out there and find this year's Chris Martin. It is much easier to get a bullpen piece than it is to get a starting pitcher, and it starts with starting pitching. And if you look at this rotation lately, they have not given you the length that you need. They have not gone deep into games. If you look at the bullpen, they've covered over 60% of the innings of late. That is not going to cut it. They're averaging under 4 innings a start over the last 2 weeks. So this Dodgers starting rotation, yes, Clayton Kershaw, he was fantastic early on. National League Pitcher of the Month. He had some fantastic starts. He hasn't looked like the same guy in his last 2 starts. I have full confidence that he'll be able to get it going and get back on track. But still, I mean, that was your best pitcher early on, and he's gone through a little bit of a slump. Now, Julio Urias is a guy that he has not looked anything like the Julio Urias that finished third in the Cy Young Award voting last year. He had that really nice outing against the Phillies, went 7 strong, had 10 punchies, shown flashes at times, especially against the San Diego Padres, but the fastball command isn't where it needs to be. He's not changing eye levels like we've seen. He's tops in the league when it comes to home runs allowed. So Julio Urias has some things to correct. I think he has the ability to do it. I just want to see him get the feel for that slurve, get the effectiveness back of that changeup, and period, point blank, I want to see him avoid the heart of the plate. That was the issue against the St. Louis Cardinals when he became the first Dodgers pitcher to serve up 4 dingers in an inning since Ben Wade did it in 1954 against the Giants. So it's just a very uncharacteristic part of the season for both Julio Urias and Clayton Kershaw. Now, do I have full faith they'll turn things around? I do, but still, you look at the rotation. So your number 1 starter, Julio Urias, your opening day guy, he hasn't looked as good as we've seen in years past. Clayton Kershaw, he's looked really good at the beginning, then last 2 starts hasn't looked great. Only the first time in his career since 2019 that he hasn't gotten to the fourth. No, first time in his career that he had those clunkers where he was able to get in the 4th inning. And then you talk about Noah Syndergaard, who I've talked about at length in this show. I promised you that he was going to eat innings, but he is eating innings. Look, I mean, he's serviceable. He can be serviceable. I'm confident about that, but you're not going to get Love and Thunder Thor back, right? You are not going to get the Thor that was an all-star, that was hitting triple digits. That Thor is not walking through that door anymore. And then you look at Tony Gonsolin. He's pitched pretty well. I think he's looked solid in his return. I think you want to shore up the command a little bit, and I feel good about how he's looked since he's gotten back. But then you got Bobby Miller, had a great first start of his career. Gavin Stone struggled in his first 2 starts, has shown some grit out there. There's no question about that, but still, he's a work in progress. And then Dustin May, he's on the 60-day IL, and we haven't even seen Ryan Pepio all season. And Michael Grove, he's been dealing with injuries, and he was looking like a number 4 or 5 starter at best. So if you look at that starting rotation as a whole, does it look like a rotation that can win the World Series? Does it look like a rotation that can take you through a postseason run and have dominant starters? At the moment, it does not. I mean, we'll see what Bobby Miller has. We'll see if Julio and Kersh can get back on track. We'll see what Dustin May looks like when he can return. But right now, it still is my biggest concern because I don't think the lineup is going to be a problem. I think the lineup is actually better this year than it was last year. I think JD Martinez is an upgrade to Justin Turner. I told you he was going to be. I like the slug. I like the pop he brings. I think you look at Max Muncy, he's had a bounce back year so far. You look at James Outman, he's gone through his struggles. There's no doubt about that, but he's shown some flashes and he's shown some ability, and he looks to be a guy who could be in the top 3 to 5 in Rookie of the Year voting. Miguel Vargas, he's only getting better. So I look at this lineup, and two, you got Will Smith, who I think is definitely going to have from start to finish the best year of his career offensively, and I think that he's headed for an All-Star game appearance. So I'm not concerned. But then you got Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, who go without saying. So I think the offense, you're going to add another bat at some point, especially one that can hit left-handed pitching, but I'm not concerned about the starting lineup. I'm not concerned about the bullpen because I feel like they can turn things around. I think guys are going to pitch to their capabilities, and I think they're going to add an arm. I think the starting rotation, that is the part of the team where it's not easy to find guys. Starters do not grow on trees, and I think that is where I'm concerned. But I asked the staff here that question, what is your biggest concern with the Dodgers right now? And here are their takes.
And my biggest concern with the Dodgers right now would undoubtedly have to be the bullpen. We were all just having a quite good conversation about this, that Daniel Hudson still isn't back. We don't have that defined closer, and that's going to become a problem once we go later into the season.
My biggest concern for the Dodgers so far is, I don't know if this kind of counts, but it's injuries. I mean, we've had injuries year after year after year, but to have Dustin May go on the 60-day IL, Julio miss some time, I mean, it's a problem, but I guess you could say that about every year, right? But the good thing is that we have Gavin Stone, who is, you know, doing a little bit better, and then we have Bobby Miller, who had a sensational outing. So I guess just injuries is really the problem for this Dodgers team.
Yes. Yeah, for me, it's that bench. You got Chris Taylor struggling. He can't really buy a hit. You got Austin Barnes struggling. Trace Thompson, I feel like he hasn't gotten a hit once this year since that 3-home run game. So it's definitely an issue, a situation where you don't want to have these guys keep coming out and being automatic out in the bottom of the lineup when they're trying to get other guys rest. So if these guys don't start turning things around soon, I'd love to see the Dodgers maybe use that DFA on someone like Trace Thompson, bring up some of those young guys that actually know how to hit right now. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but that's my concern right now because you can't have multiple guys that are automatic outs, especially come later in the year.
But those were their fire takes, and here were your takes over on Twitter. Juanito Ramos tweet out, starting rotation for sure, but the second half of the lineup doesn't scare any opposing pitcher right now. That is a fair point. You definitely need more production towards the bottom of that lineup, and that was the issue that the Dodgers had last season. So, yeah, you want to see some more production from the Chris Taylors, the David Peraltas. You want the two rookies to be more consistent, but I have more faith in them than I did in the team from last year, and I do think that they are going to pick up another bat. I think Trace Thompson's days are numbered. We'll see what they do from that. I think they could explore some options. I think Johnny DeLuca is a name that I want to get some serious consideration as a guy that can come up and rake against left-handed pitching. But yeah, I think that was the issue with this team last year is they relied too heavily on Freddie Freeman, on Mookie Betts, on Trey Turner. But last year, you had a Max Muncy that was non-existent until the end of the year. This year, Max Muncy has looked better. Don't forget about Jason Hayward. He's provided some pop, especially on this road trip. So I definitely have some faith in this lineup. I definitely think they have some room for improvement. But I do think if you look at this lineup versus last year, the bottom, I think this one has more potential. And this next one comes from Ambrose, who tweet out, it's part of each one of these. They're all super top heavy. Next comes from Jax. Can I vote 3 times? This next one comes from Jay Jacobs. Actually, all the above. This next one comes from @Charlie271. Pitching as a whole is a dumpster fire. We need to add some bodies to get healthy fast. Yeah, and that's going to be our Hornitos tweet of the week. Our Hornitos designated Twitter fan tweet of the week. It comes from our friend Some O Bum over on Twitter. I don't think the pitching has been a dumpster fire on the whole. I definitely think they've had their low points. But yeah, I think if you had to pitch, if you want to win, if you want to have sustained success, like with the teams we've seen over the last 3 to 4 years, it all starts with starting pitching. It starts with the rotation. It starts with the bullpen. There's no question about that. And I think what I've been saying for the last few weeks is you want this offense to supplement the pitching at the moment because you're going to need to get guys healthy. You're going to need to get guys back on track. And until they do, you're going to have to outscore some opponents. So next one comes from Dodger Bree, who tweet out, Dave Roberts still mismanaging. Yeah. I think, man, I've said my piece on Dave time and again. I think one thing I will say is Dave Roberts going to Evan Phillips when he did during Gavin's Stone Star definitely saved the day. I think that was a move that you can approve of. I think he pulled the right lever there. I didn't like how he managed during the St. Louis series. I've made that abundantly clear. I didn't like sitting Mookie Betts when he did. Dodgers down 9-3. They end up making a game of that one. He doesn't start the Sunday game. But look, for the most part, the Dodgers aren't losing games because of Dave Roberts. I hate to break that to you because, look, Dave Roberts, what he is paid to do, he does it at an elite level. That is give guys confidence. That is put guys in positions where they feel like they can execute. They can go out there and be the best version of themselves. That's what Dave Roberts said to Bobby Miller before his big league debut. He said, I just want you to be you. And I think that's what he does. He instills confidence in his guys. But as far as roster makeup, as far as lineup makeup, as far as the buttons that they're pushing in the bullpen, the rotation, I mean, that is a collaborative effort that is put together by upwards of a dozen people on a daily basis. I mean, if you know the ins and outs of the Dodgers, that is just how they're making their decisions. It is a collaborative effort. So, yeah, Dave Roberts, a part of the reason why he gets paid what he gets paid is to fall on the sword, is to take that heat and address it with the media. But, yeah, I mean, as far as moves in certain spots, yeah, it's going to be a little more than just Dave Roberts. But I do think that some of Dave Roberts' moves recently, I just did not like the fact that he was joking about taking Mookie out of the game and how he put in Trace Thompson and Trace took that walk. But yeah, I think for the most part, Dave's done a okay job with the team that he has. I think better than okay. I would say close to B plus A minus range when you consider the fact that no one out there, look at every Dodger pundit, I would say 70% of them picked the Padres to win this division. If you look at experts out in Major League Baseball, they picked the Padres to win this division. No one was picking the Dodgers to have the best record in the National League, and we're almost in the month of June. So I think you got to give Dave Roberts some credit. Also, weathering the storm with some of these key injuries. So, yeah, look, Dave Roberts, he's going to be here to stay. But what I've always said is he has to win his second ring to win his first ring to get the approval of the fans, because I think fans out there, they want to really see Dave do it on the biggest stage and continue to win more rings. I don't think they're completely satisfied, but hey, if you want to put it on Dave, go ahead and do so. So next one comes from Dodgers 2023. Buehler, Gonsolin, and May are forever injury prone and not frontline starters. The bullpen covered their shortcomings in the past, but not now. Yeah, I think Walker Buehler is a guy that he's dealt with injuries, but it's a part of the game. Look, they always say there's two kinds of pitchers in this league. There's pitchers that have had Tommy John, and there's pitchers that are going to have Tommy John. It's an inevitable part of the process of the life of a big league pitcher. You're not going to avoid it. Dustin May is an interesting one. All I'm going to say on that is I remember being in spring training in 2022, and yeah, people talking about his release, talking about that 3/4 release, the violence of it, how it is susceptible to deliver to injury, how the mechanics need to be cleaned up. But yeah, I mean, look, it's injuries are a part of the sport, and you really can't fault the player for it, because really all these guys are trying to go out there and do is try to compete at the highest level and perform on a big stage. Tony Gonsolin, I will say that split change, no matter what you say, that is a pitch that takes its toll on players, and we'll see if he can remain healthy. But so far, so good. I mean, he hasn't had an arm injury. He was dealing with a lower body injury. But that is going to do it for this episode of Designated Twitter. And let us know down below in the comment section, what is your biggest concern for the Dodgers? Let us know down below. Is it starting pitching? Is it the bullpen? Is it Dave Roberts? Is it the lineup? Let us know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.